In the need assessment, what we do? One by one you tell. Maheshwar, in the need assessment, what are the things that we do? Only one factor also if you're telling, or one aspect also if you're telling, that's okay. I'll ask each and everyone. Maheshwar. Fast, fast, fast. I don't want to waste time. Can't hear you.
Sorry, ma'am, I can.
Yeah, I asked you in the need assessment, what is one aspect we do? I'll ask the other aspects from the other people. Tell me one aspect that we do in need assessment before building a hospital.
Ma'am, demography.
Demographic study, right?
Yes, yes.
Okay. Angam, what are the aspects that is there? Sub aspects of demographic, study. What are the things that is being included in the demographic study? Not everything is needed, but just tell me. Angam, can't hear you, Angam. I think there is some mic issue. Angam, keep your mic, make your mic all right, because last time also I talked with you, but I think only one time I could get your answer. Before that also there was problem, right? Bethlehem,
Yes, ma'am.
yes, one aspect of demographic study that you will do for your
Ma'am,
hospital. Yes.
the catchment area and the need of population.
Okay, but very basic one. Age and sex you will find out, right?
Yes, ma'am.
In the demographic study. The most basic demographic study would be age and sex of the population, right? Next, Bhumita. You were there yesterday. Bhumita.
No, ma'am, I have came today only.
Okay, all right. Not an issue. Today you listen to it, you will get to know. Anyway, whatever question answer we are doing, from that also you will get a gist of understanding. Okay. We are basically talking about the needs of establishing a hospital, right? So the
Yeah.
aspects inside that, there are demographic study also that we have to do for assessing the need. So in that, age and sex is one of the variable. Okay, age and sex, so we have to find out for the population. Next is Vishnurat. Vishnurat, one more aspect of demographic variable, demographic study. Vishnurat, switch on your mic and speak.
Yes, ma'am.
One of one more aspect of demographic study. What is that you will do before establishing a hospital in the demographics? You'll have no idea, I know that, because you don't listen, isn't it, Vishnurat? Vishnurat, you'll go and study today. You did not give me the report also, no, on the aspects you can do. What is that? What is the summer project? You didn't do that also, isn't it? What can I expect from you? Be a little bit
Ma'am, you
serious. This is
told
third
me,
semester.
ma'am, you said,
I told
hello?
you Friday you come, but at least you have to keep
Yeah.
ready your things, right? Keep ready that
Yes,
man,
ma'am.
these are the areas I will, I will do research on. or maybe I'll do a summer project on, isn't it? At least you'll
Okay, sir.
write down something and give me, right? Ma'am, this is where I'm going to do something. Friday you come, not an issue. That is not an issue. I'm not telling you that you should not come on that day. But I'm telling that at least you should have something in your hand. Then only you can come and talk to ma'am, isn't it? Ma'am सब कुछ बता देगी तो फिर it's not gonna work, right? What
Yes, ma'am.
about Amira? Amira,
Ma'am,
demographic study में एक variable बताओ. What are the things you can do?
occupation of the target population.
Great, good. Hasina,
Population, ma'am, and
population हो गया. Demography itself is we're talking about population only. उसके अंदर क्या?
economic development. Economic, ma'am, economic development.
Yes, I mean economic development of the particular area, isn't it?
Particular. Yes,
Yeah.
ma'am.
Okay, all right. Next is Masura. Masura, any aspect? Masura,
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
any aspect in the demographic if we have left?
Ma'am, extent of urbanization.
ओके यस. अभी वो देख के नहीं बता रहे हो ना, पीपीटी देख के?
मैम मैं मुझे सुनाई नहीं दे रहा था, मैं अभी सुना आपको.
ठीक है, ओके, ऑल राइट. मनीरुल, वन मोर एस्पेक्ट इज लेफ्ट आई गेस, वो बता दो आप, देन वी विल स्टार्ट इट. मनीरुल, मनीरुल, स्विच ऑन योर माइक. सुनाई नहीं दे रहा उसको. मनीरुल, okay. Narjina, one more aspect is left, I guess.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
Extent of migratory people.
yes, right, very right. Because this by migration only the population increases, right? So that is also one more aspect that we can keep. And there are other elements also that we covered. What are those? I mean, like if you can tell me anything that is going to help us in need assessment. Nikita. Nikita?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, we talked
I
about
was
them. You were absent yesterday?
yes, ma'am.
Not good, not really good. Go and read the PPT, see the video also. Okay? And Meenakshi,
Yes, ma'am.
other than demographic variable, or what are other elements that we have covered in the needed assessment of establishing a hospital?
Ma'am, in demographic,
Not in demographic. Demographic we have covered. All the people have answered. What are the other aspects that we have covered? The elements.
ma'am, feasibility report.
फिजिबिलिटी रिपोर्ट तो ठीक है. फिजिबिलिटी रिपोर्ट नीड असेसमेंट के बाद आता है. आपका कुछ और एलिमेंट्स था. हॉस्पिटल स्टैटिस्टिक्स, you'll do the market research, isn't it? You'll be seeing in the other hospitals what are the admission rate, what are the specialties they are providing, what is the disease specific admission rate and all these things where I told you, right? Isn't it?
Yes, ma'am. Admission, that etc. Yes.
Yeah. Okay, all right. So do read it if you are not clear about the things. Okay. So Nahar,
Okay, ma'am.
Nahar, yes, okay. Nahar,
Yes, ma'am.
what are the other elements?
Ma'am, socio-economic statistics.
Sorry, socio-economic statistics. Yes,
And
very great.
ma'am, socio-economic statistics and hospital statistics.
Yes, great. Socio-economic में आप कुछ बता सकते हो? ये सब जो
Ma'am,
elements हैं.
like literacy rate, ma'am, like literacy rate, housing condition, living style.
Yes, good, good, very good. Okay, so आप लोगों को मुझे क्या बोलते हैं ये बताना है that however the classes are going on, it is understandable, right? There is no issue in understanding what I am teaching, isn't it? Or you have issues in understanding things?
No issues, ma'am.
Sure, Narjina, I know that you grasp easily, but it is not the same for other people. Everyone is okay with the way I'm continuing, like for in the hospital planning also and for hospital operation also. It is very easy to understand, isn't it? Or I should slow down or make explain you more so that you can understand. Please tell me.
Understood, ma'am.
Okay, you're understanding, right? So there is no issues. If any issue arises, please let me know that ma'am, this thing we did not understand at all. So you take a session again because Friday अगर आपका visit ना हो तो I can just teach you or I can take the extra class also. There is no issue. And in depth भी आपको कुछ सीखना होगा तो you can always study. Also, you should take a book at least for all these subjects. हॉस्पिटल ऑपरेशन का भी एक बुक ले लो क्योंकि आपके देखो आपका जो सिलेबस है ना उस सिलेबस के नीचे आई थिंक आई हैव मेंशन द बुक. अगर बुक मेंशन नहीं किया हुआ है टेल मी, आई विल गिव यू द बुक नेम. इफ यू वांट टू परचेज यू कैन परचेज और अदरवाइज आपको over net also you will get some free books which you can study and refer. I would recommend you to write in the exams according to whatever teaching I have like whatever notes I have given. But for extra understanding, you need to have a book. Okay. So right now we like let's just go in the previous like we'll be seeing the previous slides and understand what we have done in the last class because some of your people were not present in the introduction part. Nothing else, but we tried to explain. I tried to explain how difficult it is to build a hospital because it is a expensive stuff to build or establish a hospital. And the most important and critical part is planning of the hospital because planning has to happen in such a way that later on whenever you operate the hospital there is no trouble. Okay, if there is any loophole then you will be having trouble in operating the hospital. Now steps, there are some steps of planning a hospital, that is need assessment, feasibility report, architect brief will be given, request for proposal would be there, appointment of consultant would be there, detailed project report would be there, and notice inviting tender, allocation of work, construction of building, service facilities, equipment purchase, manpower selection and recruitment, and stage of commissioning, and last में आपका review of process होगा. This you have to understand and like also detailedly हम लोग पढ़ेंगे उसके बीच में. And first step is basically to analyze the project needs. What are the needs that we will be requiring? What are the needs that we have to cover while establishing a hospital? Understanding the need is much more important before going for establishment of hospital. And there are some of the key elements where we have to put our concentration. Okay, so these are where the key elements जो आपको नीड असेसमेंट करने में हेल्प करेगा. मॉर्बिडिटी असेसमेंट, बेसिकली मॉर्बिडिटी स्टैटिस्टिक्स आपको देखना पड़ेगा. You also have to see measure of different things like death rate, birth rate, maternal mortality rate, infant mortality rate. All these things you have to see. Demographic variables भी आपको देखना है. Also you have to see socioeconomic statistics of the population as well as hospital statistics of the local area as well as the regional area. And we talked about the feasibility study जहाँ पे आपको quantitative और qualitative surveys करना पड़ता है with the physicians. Okay, and also you can include other medical staff if you want to. If you want to do a very big feasibility study, you can do it accordingly. Next comes where we'll be like what we are going to the thing that we are going to discuss today is basically the hospital planning team. Now why we have to understand about the planning team, because we know that for planning Definitely a team has to be there who would make sure that everything is falling into place, right? So आप अगर ये स्लाइड नहीं पढ़ो, व्हाट डू यू थिंक, टेल मी योर पर्सपेक्टिव, हु शुड बी देयर इन द प्लानिंग टीम? आप मत देखो यहाँ पे, ये स्लाइड मत देखो, टेल मी हु आर द पीपल जनरली हॉस्पिटल प्लानिंग टीम में होता है, ठीक है? हु आर दोज पीपल? if you have any understanding, if you have any kind of understanding, you would be able to identify those people. Just any one of you just give me an answer. Quick, please be quick while answering.
Ma'am, hospital administrator, medical superintendent,
Yeah, and
nursing matron.
yes,
Ma'am, doctors will
Architect.
be needed.
yes. Who's going to take care of the technical part and the design?
IT department.
IT department.
IT department would be technical, मतलब वो
Ma'am,
नहीं, वैसा टेक्नोलॉजी
Ma'am,
नहीं बोल रही हूँ।
architect engineer,
या
HR
आर्किटेक्ट
and
इंजीनियर। HR कौन बोला ये? हसीना?
architecture,
ये बोला आर्किटेक्चर एंड इंजीनियर बोला।
Yes, architecture and engineering. Okay, great. मुझे बताने की जरूरत नहीं है, you understood it. So still, let me just read out, or I'll explain also along with it. So basically, what is that? The people who are there in hospital, most of the time, these people doesn't understand the language of building. Okay, doctor, nurses और medical administrator, उनको जाके आप कुछ पूछो कि ये बिल्डिंग का कितने स्क्वायर फुट में बनाना पड़ेगा, कितना स्पेस यहाँ पे देना पड़ेगा, कितना स्पेस कॉरिडोर के लिए चाहिए, ये लैंग्वेज जो बिल्डिंग की लैंग्वेज है, दैट इज नॉट अंडरस्टूड बाय ऑल दीज मेडिकल पीपल. That is why to make us understand things, we have the architects and the engineers. Okay, so they will make us understand what would be the design and how we have to plan the design, right? So but I mean, like the time when we will do the multidisciplinary project planning, at that point of time these architects and in the engineers would involve doctors, specialists, nurses and technical staff, and they would be making us understand that how the project is going and how the design should be for a particular for a particular hospital. Okay, now because it takes a lot of time to make us understand, we in the sense I'm telling about the medical people. Okay, so these medical people takes a lot of time to understand what is that purpose of that particular design, and to understand what are the what are the how the space requirement should be, and why why the vertical space vertically the building should go, why it should go horizontally. These things, it takes time for a medical person to understand, because they did not read about all these things. Now because of this thing only, the delay of progress happens for the project. Okay, so it is the responsibility of the engineers and architecture to involve these people in the project while they design the hospital. Okay, so for this reason, there has to be a continuous communications with the architect and engineers. The medical team has to be in a continuous touch or communication with the architects and the engineers. Now let us understand who is hospital consultant. This person is the decision maker for each and everything while we plan a hospital. For example, I'm just giving an example. I want to plan a hospital, or I am like thinking that in Nogao there is a area. In that area, I want to plan a hospital. I've done some I've seen that situation and I've seen the area situation, and I consider that that maybe in this area there is a need of a hospital. Okay, now who comes into picture? Hospital consultant. I'll be going to a consultant, like not hospital consultant एक specific इंसान को नहीं बता रहे, but basically there are organizations who used to give the consultancy. Maybe I'll give an example of Hospex or Hosmec. There is some good consultancy. These people are the good consultancy for making hospital. Let me go to Hosmec. Okay, I went to Hosmec and I have talked to the consultant and I told that this is the requirement for this hospital and this has to be in this area. So that person would be the key decision maker now, because he has a lot of years experience in building hospital. He is the person who will be integrating the architect, engineers, and other medical staffs, and would be making decisions how the hospitals to be built. Okay, so this is the most vital person who would be taking care of all key issues whenever there is like whenever the issue arises while building a hospital. Okay, so you understand that in the hospital planning team, this person is very vital. Okay, let us understand in which areas he can give us guidance. Okay, first is that local and regional survey of medical and healthcare. Now in the local and basically ये लोग need assessment के time पे ही आ जाएंगे. ठीक है, need assessment में you will also do the local and regional surveys of the medical and healthcare. ये आपका कौन से उसमें आएगा? आपका शायद वो what is that hospital statistics में आ जाएगा. ठीक है, वो hospital statistics and all everything, this people will be these people would be helping you out to find out कि local areas में जितने hospitals है वहाँ के क्या statistics है, in the regional area what are the hospitals and how many hospitals are there, and in those hospitals what are the facilities are given, what are the statistics, all these things this hospital consultant would be like hospital consultant would help us understand, as well as the consultant organization would be having a group or would be having employees who would be doing study for us. If we are paying good amount of money, they would be doing a study for us. Okay, analysis of the demand and need for the hospital facilities. So the same thing I said that in the need assessment itself they would appear in the need assessment only. So they would define that what are the need of this particular population, right? Next, assessment of the extent and range of services required. So by seeing the need, they would give us and report saying that in this area, these population suffers mostly from cancerous disease. So you should make a specialty hospital which would be giving care to the cancer patient. Next, equipment selection. Now you will be also giving an idea that what kind of equipments we should keep in our hospital, and also by seeing the socio-economic status of that particular population, he would make us understand that you should not keep these kind of equipments over here, because people will not be doing this test if it is very costly, because socio-economic status of that area is not really good, isn't it? And if the socio-economic status of that particular area is very good, of course like we can keep some advanced technology and equipments in the particular hospital, right? Now next one where you can give us guidance is that administrative and organizational relationship, right? In the culture like how the culture of the hospital should be, that also in that regard also he can give us an idea. Okay, so next, let us see the core group who would be working hard to establish a hospital. So the hospital consultant and one or two medical administrator, maybe the operation manager, or maybe so one or two, right? So two if you say medical superintendent. Okay, So these people would be starting the project in the early stage. Next, gradually, when the project is developing, this core team would also include hospital engineer, financial expert, architects, and also the people who would be providing clinical service in the hospital, like doctors and all specialists, consultant, and okay. So as planning requires understanding of nature of activities and their impact on each other, because while planning will be understanding that we are planning for so we have finished the design part, now we'll be planning for clinical services. So we would be calling the clinical people, will be calling the doctor and nurses into the group, and we would make them also a part of our team, right? So next one is how this consultant communicates and take the leadership. Okay, because as I said, he is one of the most vital person that would be making key decisions in establishing a hospital, right? So how he would be doing the communication and the leadership. So funding bodies, government and community agencies, and professional and social groups, suppliers and consumers who are all involved in some stages of the planning process fail to communicate effectively. Okay, so these are the bodies that will be included in the planning process. कोर टीम जा रहा है अपना काम कर करके, जहां पे भी जो चीज भी इन आप प्लानिंग के टाइम पे इंक्लूड कर रहे हो, उस टाइम में you are also including some extra people. For example, some government bodies, म्यूनसिपालिटी को आप इन्वॉल्व कर रहे हो. म्यूनसिपालिटी को क्यों इन्वॉल्व कर रहे हो? क्योंकि you also have to plan about your biomedical waste management. Now these people are the one who would be giving you suggestion how you have to plan your biomedical biomedical waste management, right? So each and every time whenever you're planning for something, the people concerned to that particular area would be involved in the planning. Okay, your supplier and consumers and all also would be included. So the role of a consultant therefore is to maintain a progress in decision making by coordinating their work. Now he is the key personnel who would be making decisions, right? And he also have to be the person who would be communicating their work to their work, like what they have to do, what decisions they have to make, and what kind of help they have to do for the core team, right? So he has to be the communicator as well for those people. Now they must fully understand the proposals and their implications on financial, manpower and other resources. So all these people who would be involved later on, उनको clear understanding होनी चाहिए project की, that what are the financial need, how much we have, what is the capital investment we are doing, how many manpower we are having, and what are other resources we are having. Each time you include people in your team, each time you include any government and community agencies, NGOs or any social groups, you have to also tell your vision and you have to make sure what is the project requirement, financial, manpower and other resources. Okay, many decisions have to be made before the architect appear in the scene. So as I said, the core team जो है, जो वो पहले ही काम करना शुरू कर देते हैं. Once they find out that अभी design का part आ रहा है, तो architect and engineers also would be coming, right? Then architect and engineers would make the medical team understand about the designs and other planning requirements. ठीक है? So पहले मैं as a founder, because I am going to make the hospital, I would go to HOSMEC, talk to the consultant will talk to medical superintendent and operation manager, whoever we are planning to recruit, or they are having, if they are having some experts in their team, in their consultancy, then we as a core team members, we would communicate what are the things that we are going to do, right? And then however we want our hospitals to be, we will communicate this to the architect. Okay, so if the planning body has not been able to make such decisions, then it develops upon the architect to prove the decision making process, to ask the controversial questions, and at times to cajole and or bully in leading the way of decision making. So over here, see, architect also has an experience of making many hospitals, of course, right? And also this consultant also has an experience of building many hospitals, because they are the one who would be giving decisions or making like communicating a lot of things to the architect. There will be some clashes for sure. For sure there will be some clashes. Architect would say that no, for this particular thing this much space requirement should be there, and the consultant should will tell that no, I have built many hospitals and I have given decisions, and this what is that space requirement is this much only, so you have to change some plan. Now in this regard, both of them has to come with the evidence based systematic approach. That means whatever they have built, they have to put in front and they have to take the decision. They cannot just quarrel. They have to go according to. One second. Okay, sorry, I got a little bit of thing. Okay, so एविडेंस बेस्ड सिस्टमेटिक अप्रोच मीन्स आपको आपका ये है कि आपने जितना भी अभी तक हॉस्पिटल बिल्ड किया है वहाँ पे आपने क्या किया है, दैट proposal both of the people will be giving. The architect also would be giving the proposal, as well as the consultant also would be giving a proposal. Then both of them would be like making the decisions. Okay, both of them would be seeing, and by by taking the understanding, they would be making they would be doing the decision making. Okay, so let us come to hospital architect. We understood who is hospital consultant and how he is going to lead the planning of the hospital. And in this now it is also important for you who is to understand who is architect, hospital architect, and what is his role in establishing a hospital. So basically, the architect has to acquire an understanding of the comprehensive and technical and administrative need of the hospital before planning. First thing, he has to get understanding from the consultant and from the medical team. Is medical team in the sense बाकी medical team नहीं जो clinical service में होगा, at least medical superintendent and the hospital administrator, okay, and the consultant. From them, he has to take an understanding about technical and administrative needs of the hospital. What are the technical and administrative needs of the hospital? Then only he can plan a particular hospital. Okay, whether this hospital will go vertically or it will go horizontally. Okay, whether like how many floors would be there, in which floor what planning has to be done, and how each and every areas would be associated with each other, right? So that planning, that administrative and technical understanding he has to get from the people. So his responsibility is to translate clinical and administrative requirement into architectural and engineering realities, which encompasses the site selection and orientation of building, supervision of the construction, and utilities and electrical and mechanical installation. यहाँ पे उसका मेन decision making कहाँ पे होता है? In the site selection. Okay, so while we took care of the need and all, and we also understood the need and demand of the area. Now he also we will be identifying which site to be selected for the hospital. So we will have the architect for site selection, okay, and orientation of the building. So in like how the building should be, like which area to be facing which side, which area to be kept in which side. So all this orientation of the building also you'll be making decisions on. Supervision of the construction, basically architect would be responsible for supervising. Utilities or any kind of electrical and mechanical installation has to be done, that should be done under his supervision. So the requirement has to be understood in depth by the architect from the hospital consultant, from which we should develop a program in writing stating clearly all the requirement in the comprehensive terms. Number of beds, number of their distribution, departmental needs, area requirement, major equipment, number of type of personnel to be employed, and departmental functions and relationship. जो आपने पहले लाइन में पढ़ा, that comprehensive technical and administrative needs, that has to be taken, that these understanding has to be taken from the hospital consultant. ठीक है, ऐसे ही नहीं on the report, because architecture ने कुछ भी बना दिया, if there is no proof, later on the consultant and the other people would be blaming him for sure, right? So there has to be a clearly stating report in which the consultant would be mentioning about the number of beds that is needed, their distribution, departmental needs, and what are the area requirements, major equipments that to be installed, and also how many manpower should be having, and their functions and relationships. Okay, so now the architect would clearly understand what is the need of these people, and he would be transforming that into a design, and that imagination will be transformed into a hospital, right? So next one, यहाँ पे हॉस्पिटल प्लानिंग जो है वो 6 स्टेज वाइज होता है, ठीक है. बिफोर that whatever you have seen, वो need that those steps are also there, and also stages जो होते हैं, स्टेज A, स्टेज B, स्टेज C, स्टेज D, स्टेज E and F में डिवाइड किया जाता है, ठीक है. फर्स्ट स्टेज में बेसिकली आपको फंक्शनल कंटेंट आउटलाइन ब्रीफ देखना है. प्रोजेक्ट टीम यू विल फाइंड आउट assessment of the functional content, submission to the owners, government, private or organization, because you also have to take an permission and approval you have to get. You'll do the site selections and gross floor areas, building space you will see, draft, you'll also draft a master plan, estimation of cost you'll be doing, and phasing, estimation cost and phasing, in which phase how much you will be spending, basically the forecasting you will be doing, appraisal for the work by owners, that also has to be done. Next में आपका है आपका operational policies plan, that would come in the stage B. Stage B में आपको operational policies development करना है, departmental and interrelated activities, departmental and hospital policies, development control plan,